Welcome to the Golf Report podcast. Today I'm joined by professional golfer Louise Olsson. Louise, how you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. I got that correct. Your name's Louise Olsson.
Yes. Well, now it's
Cool.
actually Louise Olsson-Campbell. I just changed my name.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
getting married, so
Oh,
yes.
cool. Congrats. So
Thank
just
you.
tell me, how are things going? You said you play on the WAT tour, so I know the first tournament's coming up this upcoming week. So, just tell me
Hmm.
about how the off season went, and just tell me about getting ready to play in the first WAT tournament, next week.
Yeah. So I just got to Louisiana actually last night.
Okay.
So got here a little bit early, so I'll have a little more time than usual to prepare for the event. The off season went good. Just worked on kind of continue to work on the stuff that I worked on before. I feel like my game is really close to, being able to be on the top of the leaderboard. So I just played a couple of events during the winter months to kind of keep my game there, because if, when you take a lot of time off, tournaments
Mhm.
tend to get a little bit rusty. So I played actually last week in Florida, and then I went straight from there to Louisiana. So, and game was good last week. I finished eighth place, which was pretty good. It was about 50 players, I think, playing in it. So it was a good start. So feeling good going into this week.
Nice. So yeah, we were just chatting, but will you mostly be playing on the Women's All Pro Tour this year, or will you try to get into an Epson Tour tournament if possible?
Um, I guess yeah, mostly the WPT. Obviously, if I end up getting into one, so every week the top two players on the WPT gets into like the next Epson event. So, that could happen, and I probably would take that chance if I get it. And then I guess there's always a chance for like sponsor invites, but mostly the WAPT this year.
Nice. So I see, you've played in the WAPT, in the past. You played in, lots of tournaments last year, lots of
Hmm.
tournaments, you know, 2021, 2022. Just just talk about, getting to play on the WAPT tour, and do you enjoy getting to play on it? And you know,
Yeah, it's been a good. I mean, we were lucky that this tour was created because before there was basically just the
yeah.
LPGA, the Epson Tour. If you didn't have status to get into Epson Tour, you were basically stuck with mini tour events, which there were some of those, but it was basically just in the winter months. So you could play in those and then like do some state opens. But this really has helped create more opportunities for people that don't have status. And it's become a really good tour. I mean, the competition is
Mhm.
tough. I would say it's pretty close to the Epson tour. I guess the only thing, I live in Florida, and most of these events are in like Louisiana, Texas,
Yeah.
kind of middle of the country. So it's a lot of travel. It would be a lot easier if I was like based in Texas somewhere. But I mean, it's been good. I've been able to travel with my husband to almost every tournament. He brings his work with him and he works remotely, so it's been working out well. I've had a lot of fun doing it. Like I said, it's a great tour. We play a lot of good courses. The purses are have gone up since I started. So it's been a good experience overall for me.
Nice. So Women's All Pro Tour is actually now called the Annika Women's All Pro Tour. So, being Swedish
Yes.
yourself, what is it like to see Annika, support, the WAPT tour, and then also just talk about, being a young Swedish girl, growing up playing golf. You know, did you idolize Annika, or were you a fan of
Yeah.
Swedish, growing up in Sweden?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when I was growing up, when I was like early teenager, that was kind of the end of her career. So I feel like I remember watching her, but I was very young. But I definitely, looked up to her. And when I was, I think, 14 and 15, I got invited to her camp. Uh,
Okay.
she had a camp for like teenage girls, so I got to meet her when I was around that age, and she was still playing at the time, so we were able to do like or walk around like a practice round with her and kind of see what she did, and we got to see her coach and talk to both of them, kind of what they were working on and how they structure their practice and everything. So it was helpful to have, Sweden is a really small country. And it was, I think, helpful to have somebody like her to look up to and get some tips from how to go about things.
Nice.
So,
I'm
and
interested to know.
obviously for her to
Mhm,
contribute to this tour,
mhm.
she's done a lot of things. Like after she's started stopped playing, she's done a lot of things for women's golf in general, and this was just another thing that she's done. So, it's very exciting that she wanted to be a part of this tour.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm interested to know, professional golfer, you're out on the road, traveling, for
Hmm.
most weeks of the year. So I'm interested to know, any of your fellow, competitors, are you closest with? Are you close with the other Swedish players? Like I see Anna Apper, Anna
Hmm.
Northfords, yourself, and then there's a couple players on the Epson tour. Are you mostly closest
Yeah.
with the Swedish players, or there's some other, non-Swedish players you're closest with, both on the Epson tour and WAPT tour?
Yeah, I guess I know of most of the Swedish players. Anna Appert Lund, we actually went to high school together. We're the same age, so we've known
Okay.
each other since we were 15. Um, we both have been kind of going back and forth between the Epson and WAPT. I think she's going to do mostly Epson this year, so I'll
Okay.
see her at the first couple events. And we definitely, when she's here, she's definitely one of the closest ones uh, to
Mhm.
me. So that's been fun to having her around. Other than that, I mean, I do travel with my husband, so I spend a lot of time with him. Like we usually, will sometimes we'll stay with other players, so like an Airbnb, but for the most part, it's just us. Um, I would say I kind of talk to everyone, but I don't know if there's like anybody that I'm like the closest to. Like I said,
Yeah.
when there are Swedish players, I guess I tend to hang out with them a little bit more. But overall, I feel like this tour has a like a kind of like a family feeling. So you're kind of just close to almost everyone
Nice.
in
So
the.
so you're beginning your WAPT season,
Mhm.
this upcoming week. Besides the obvious, of getting, your Epson tour status, back. What are some
Mhm.
of your goals, for this upcoming season?
I mean, I think the biggest one is to like win.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I have the ability to be up there. And it's been a little bit of a struggle the first couple of years, but I feel like I've seen like steady improvement, and I feel like I'm able to be up there. So like to win a tournament, and then obviously to be in the top five on the money list to get into the stage two of Q school automatically.
Nice. So let's just talk about your start in golf. So you grew up in Sweden, actually. The weather's probably not great in Sweden, but there's a lot of, whether it be, LPGA Tour, Epson Tour,
Hmm.
WT Tour, there's a lot of good players from Sweden. So I'm interested to know, just tell me about growing up in Sweden, how you got started golf, how you got
Hmm.
started playing golf. Just tell me about, golf, in Sweden, because there's a lot of good players, whether that be, Epson Tour, LPGA Tour, for such
Yeah,
a, small country with, not great weather. There's a lot of good, players from there. So just tell me about golf in Sweden.
yeah. It is a small country. I mean, there's not a lot of people. It's like nine
Yeah.
to 10 million people.
Okay.
So, you know, considering that we have a lot of good players,
Yeah.
I would say mostly because like our federation, like the Swedish Golf Federation, is very strong. We have a really big team of some really good coaches, and they really take care of the juniors. There is this big camp that's for, I don't know what age they would be, but pretty young players that get invited to this camp called Super Camp, where and I was part of it too when I was young, and you get to meet a lot of people that have the same ambitions as you. And then they just have a lot of stuff going on with different types of camps that you can get invited to if you do well, and you get exposed to kind of the Swedish national team, the way that they think about practice and structuring, and uh, it's all about like creating good habits. I think a lot of it um, when it comes to practice and how to think about everything that involves golf. So I think that helped me a lot. I feel like I got a really good base of how to kind of be like my own coach when I'm out here, because there's a lot of stuff to think about when you're out here as a professional, especially. And I went to a golf high school as well. So I grew up in like a small town that we didn't have like an indoor facility or anything. So growing up, I played a lot of different sports. in the winter, and then in the summer it was mostly golf. And when I reached high school, I went to a golf high school near Stockholm, where I was able to do a lot of winter practice as well. Um, and then I went to college at the College of Charleston.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, it's even though we have like a short season, I feel like we get taught early on how to think about practice and how to create good habits, and we really use the winter months to like work on like mechanics and spend a lot of time in the gym as well. So you kind of build a good foundation for the rest of your career.
So as we mentioned, there's a lot of LPGA tour players from Sweden, whether that be, Anna Nordqvist, Caroline Hidwall, Pernilla
Hmm.
Lindberg, Madeline Sackstrom, list can go on.
Hmm.
But, some of them are older, younger than you, but, do you know any of these players, or if you don't know any of these players, do you just, support them, anytime they're playing?
Yeah, I guess I know most of them.
Okay.
Anna Nordqvist is a little bit older.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually have met her before, but
Okay.
like Madeline Sackstrom, we're around the same age. So I grew up playing some junior golf tournaments with her. And then some of the younger ones, I guess they are younger, so I didn't really play junior golf with them. I don't really know them that well, but I definitely, follow them when they play and cheer for them. And it's been exciting to see so much success lately, especially with Lynn Grant and Maya Stark. And yeah, it looks like we have a bright future in front of us.
Nice. So I want to get back into, your junior career growing up in Sweden. So you got to play with and, win. Um, you got to play with the Swedish national team and you won the Swedish national championship. So, what was it like to win the Swedish national championship? And then also for you, what was it like to play with the Swedish national team, growing up?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. There were some tournaments that were part of like kind of like the future, like potential future players on the national team. I played one tournament in Germany and one in France. So that was fun to kind of get exposed to like international players early on and seeing, courses outside of Sweden. So those were definitely some valuable experiences. And the Swedish national championship, that was actually with my home club, where we went to Spain and won. Feels like forever ago now, but yeah, that was a great experience as well. It was cool to actually to win. And yeah, I mean, all of these, like especially going like internationally and competing, I feel like brings like a lot of extra experience in your bag, so that was definitely valuable, going into, college and everything to feel like you've already kind of, you feel a little bit more prepared going into college for sure.
So Lisa, you're from Sweden. You went to college in the US, at College of Charleston, as you
Mhm.
mentioned. So, being from Sweden, how did you end up attending college in the US? Did you always want to attend college in the US? And, also what drew you to the College of Charleston, specifically?
I wouldn't say that I've always wanted to go to college. I think I just didn't really know much about it. Like I said, I grew up in like a smaller town, and especially like during that time, there wasn't a lot of talk about college. Especially not for where I was from. But like I said, I attended this high school that was near Stockholm, and where I was exposed to better players, where there was a little bit more talk about college. But like I said, I didn't really know much about it. I looked into it a little bit, but it really wasn't until my senior year of high school actually that I was like, well, maybe I should look into it a little bit more and give it a chance. And I honestly had no clue what I was doing. I got a little bit of help, from the coaches there that had some experience. But I basically just wrote like a letter, like a personal letter where I talked about myself and my goals with golf, and I sent it out to a bunch of different schools. And I got some answers, not great offers. But eventually, like kind of last minute, I got an offer from the College of Charleston, like a full scholarship, and I still had no idea what I was getting into, but I felt like I couldn't say no to it. So I said yes. I had never been to the US before. I didn't go to the US until like literally like the week before school started and moved in and kind of just like dove into it. not knowing what I was doing, but it turned out to be a really great experience. College of Charleston was, I mean, such a great school. It's a cozy little town, and there was a lot of good golf courses. We got to play in a lot of good events with some of the top schools. So yeah, I'm really glad that I did it, and it turned out to be, one of the best experiences of my life. So.
Nice. So was it difficult for you, being from Sweden, attending college in the US, being away from, friends and family, was that difficult for you, or did you, adjust it to going to college in the US? Did you adjust it well to it, or was it difficult
I
at
think
first?
it was definitely difficult. I guess I had already, like, because I moved away for high school, I had already kind of gone through that period of time where like I was away from family. So I was kind of used to that already, even though this was like a lot further away.
Okay,
So it was definitely a bigger step. But I think high school was like a good way to prepare myself for it. I mean, I guess just going to the US is just like such a big difference, like culture wise and everything. So it was definitely a big adjustment. Um, even like the language barrier and everything. Like it took me a while to get used to, school and everything was definitely a little bit hard in the beginning. I had to get like a lot of extra help and stuff, but I would say after like a year or two, I definitely felt like I had no issues with school or anything. So it just took a little bit of time to adjust, but it turned out okay at the end.
nice. So yeah, just, how was your time at College of Charleston, getting to, attend college in US and, play, college golf, how was that for you?
I mean, I don't think I could have asked for really a better school to go to. I had a great team, a lot of like amazing teammates that I still am friends with, and College of Charleston was just such a good school to go to. And we were a big team when I got there. We were like 14 players, but we actually hosted a lot of our tournaments, so we were able to bring like two different teams and even individuals. So um, in the beginning, I wasn't always on like the A team, but I still got to play in almost every event, whether it was like on on another team or B team or whatever you want to call it, and or as an individual. So I got a lot of experience, and eventually I kind of secured my spot on the team, and I was playing in almost every event. And I mean, we got to travel to some really cool places. We went to Arizona. We had usually a tournament in California every year, so there was just so much to learn. And yeah, the school was good as well. I really have no complaints about it. Charleston is kind of like a golfer's paradise, so we were very lucky to be a part of that team.
Nice. Yeah, let's see, the College of Charleston. Let's see, I interviewed the men's coach, Mitch. I won't pronounce his last name, but I've
Hmm.
interviewed him, and not up at Charleston, but just in South Carolina. My grandmother lives there. My family's gonna live there,
Okay,
so yeah, it's my connection to
cool.
College of Charleston. I have interviewed the men's coach, so it's pretty cool.
Hmm.
So anyway, getting back, so after college, did you always know that you wanted to play, professional golf? Did you, like after college, did you have the goal of playing professional golf, or were you not sure that you wanted to play professional golf? Because I've talked to a lot of people, on WT and Epson Tour, and some of them say, they knew right after college they wanted to play professional golf, and some of them, didn't know that they wanted to play professional golf right after college. So, you know,
Hmm.
did you
No,
know
I
right after college that you wanted to play professional golf, or were you not sure?
No, I think I've honestly always knew,
Okay,
like ever since I was like little, that like even though I played other sports and stuff, it was like always the number one sport and the sport that I felt like I was probably the best at and felt like I could really compete. So I definitely knew I would say I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I just knew that I wanted to do it, and I just took little steps forward to get there. But yes, I would say I definitely knew what I wanted to do.
nice. So I'm interested to know, it says 2018 you played one event on the Epson Tour. I'm interested to know, how did you get into this tournament, and just what was it like, playing your first Epson Tour tournament?
Yeah, yeah, so the first time I went to Q school, I got through stage one, so I had, decent status.
Okay,
I would say the early part of my professional career was like a little bit different probably than most people.
Yeah.
I had like a full-time job.
Okay.
Like I said, when I first graduated college, like I didn't really know how to go about things. I definitely didn't have enough money to just like go out and play a bunch of tournaments. So I ended up getting like a full-time job at a golf course. So even though I had Epson status, I was like very limited with the time that I could take off from work and stuff. And that year, I actually ended up getting like sick. um, so some of the early tournaments I got into, I couldn't even go play. But I did play at least one tournament. I missed the cut, but I think I was playing decent. It was just fun to be able to, go and experience it and see what it was all about. I think I drove like 12 hours or something in one day to get up there. I don't even think I got a practice round in because it was
Okay.
such a last, I think I got in like last minute. Um, so I definitely didn't get like the best preparation for it, but it was a good experience. Just dipping my toes into the Epson tour.
Mhm. Yeah. So tell me, what did you do in your full-time job? Did you like, working full-time at the golf course, or, would you have wished that, you would have took more of the opportunity, play professional golf, given that you had some Epson Tour status?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I liked it, but I knew that's not what I wanted to do. Uh, it was just a way to kind of be able to keep going. I mean, I did have a really good setup. I was an assistant pro at Kiwa Island,
Oh,
one
wow.
of the
Okay.
private courses there. So
Yeah.
I was obviously had like an amazing course to practice at, and
Mhm.
uh, got to know a lot of members and played a lot of golf with them. But like I said, I guess the hard part was being able to actually play enough tournaments. I definitely didn't wasn't able to play like full time like I'm doing now. So it was a struggle trying to figure it all out, and it was I guess it put a little bit more pressure on you because when you did get into an event and you went to play it, like it's almost like you had to play really well because it was like your only chance um
Mhm.
for that, month or whatever. So it was tough, but I think that's also at that golf course, that's where I met my husband now. So I think, you know, looking back, I'm really glad I did it, but it definitely made the professional golf life a little bit tougher.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm mostly down by Hilton Head, so I played like, Harbor Town, stuff like that. But I got to go up to Charleston. It'd be
Hmm.
pretty cool to play like, Kiawah Island. Definitely
Oh,
something I'll
yeah.
get. But
A
yeah,
lot of
that's
good
pretty good.
golf.
Hmm. Yeah, but you didn't play many professional tournaments, but working at Kiawah Island, that's pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, it
So.
was a cool experience.
Mhm. So I have two more questions. So, you're from Sweden.
Mhm.
Do you have family in Sweden? And do you ever go back to Sweden? I know you live in Florida right now, but do you ever go to Sweden or, not too often?
Yeah, I try to go there as much as I can. All my family's back there.
Okay.
Um, and I have like a little nephew now and a niece that I try to go see as much as I can. So I would say on average, I go back twice a year. I even try to go back more often if I can. Usually it's like Christmas and summertime,
Okay.
at least once. So, and I talk to them a lot. I'm really close to my family. So whether it's like a text or a FaceTime call almost every day with my parents or whatever. So I try to keep in touch with them as much as I can.
That's awesome. So correct me if I'm wrong, but my final question, you're 30 years old, it says, so, you're not the
Hmm.
youngest player out there, on the Epson Tour and the
No.
WAPT Tour. So, given it that, you're now in your 30s, you know, you've been playing professional golf for, a few years now. What are some goals you have, going forward for your professional career now, given that you're in your 30s and you've been out there for a few years now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've just had like a different journey than most people.
Mhm.
Like, some people are either turn pro right after high school and they don't even go to college, or they go to college and turn pro right after and maybe get their Epson card and have been out there for a while already. I just took a slightly different route, but I think I've gone through a lot of struggles, but I feel like I'm ready to take the step out there and really, like I said earlier, like I want to win, and I feel like I have the ability to. So I know I'm not the youngest player out here, but I definitely feel I'm like maybe a little bit behind, but I feel like I have what it takes to get there. Like I want to play on the LPGA tour, and I want to be able to win on that level, and I think I have what it takes. So
Cool.
that's the goal.